All right, we're off to the races. Thank you for your patience. All right, so I put this as the starting slide, and the reason why is it's a battle out there. I mean, I know I've had a lot of conversations with all of you in regards to the fight that is the market today. And I know that that's frustrating at times. I'm hoping that this, I have a macro view on it. Obviously, I have all of you guys coming to me and more. And, for that reason, I think that, sometimes it helps to gain some perspective. And that's what I'm going to go into today. So first thing I'm going to talk about is my team. Can everybody see my slides?
Yeah.
Yes? Awesome. So obviously Lynn Keller is the best. So thank you, Lynn, to everything that you do. I have some really exciting and fun news about Lynn that I can't share today, but it's coming. So I'm excited about that, and I'll share it as soon as I can. Jamie, same thing. She's awesome. Jamie is taking on a little bit of a different role for us this particular year than she has in the past. I've always had her do, her focus has been social media and marketing. That's still going to be the case, but this particular year, I'm going to have her, do a really a deep dive in on Moxi. That's a new CRM that we're launching. Jamie does a lot of projects for me personally and for our office that we need done. I don't know who that is, but bear with me. Tracy Freeman, mute.
Sorry.
It's all good, T-Fred. So Jamie's going to be really a point person this year for Moxi, and you'll understand how important that is, as I go through this. Irving Cham, all of you guys know Irv as a leader in our office. First of all, he came in to our office as a brand new agent. Took over, as a team leader, built out his business in both. And more recently, he's been taking on a role in our office in terms of, a growth manager. He's going to be helping me significantly with helping you guys implement some of the systems that we have to improve your business. So if you want to better leverage Coldwell Banker, leverage Irv. That's something that he's there for, and he's doing an awesome job for us already. So I have no doubt that that's going to continue. And we're going to talk more and more. I'm going to have him teach sessions and everything else because he really did an awesome job. He was one of you, for years. He still is one of you. But the point is it's somebody who, grew a business in Maplewood, grew a large team and a successful team in Maplewood. And now we're using him to try to help teach some of the things that he's already done himself. So, Irv, welcome to the team, and I appreciate having you. All right. Sarah. Sarah joined us this past year, maybe a year and a half, give or take. And I could tell you, on the mortgage front, we were doing a pitiful job. I mean, it was really ugly in terms of our mortgage business. And the truth is we didn't have a good partner. We needed a better partner because GRA does an awesome job this particular year. And moving forward, the mortgage side of the business is a really crucial element for us because it helps all of you in ways that you don't even realize. And I'm going to just be right up front and transparent about it. The industry is changing. And as the industry continues to change and move towards higher and higher splits and more services that we have to provide towards you, it literally means a lower margin on real estate services for Coldwell Banker. So in order to try to improve upon that and keep giving you what we need to give you and really push the envelope on what we're doing for you, we have to start to build our mortgage business. We have to start to build ancillary services. I'm in the process of trying to build a mortgage office, and Sarah is the start of that office. She's done an awesome job, so thank you, and I'll certainly turn it over to you in 1 second. But beyond that, we didn't stop with Sarah. I want to introduce to you Jimmy Joseph, who, Sarah, both Jimmy and Sarah are two people that I personally sought out and wanted to be part of what we're doing because I felt like they were really awesome fits for, what we're doing as an office and what we need to provide in terms of client and customer service. So I welcome you, Jimmy. If Sarah, Jimmy, you guys want to say a few words, I certainly, open the floor to you. And I really appreciate having you guys in the office.
Real estate offices have designated mortgage person.
Thank you, Michael. Can you guys hear me?
People who speak at office meetings.
Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to mute whoever's talking. Please go ahead, Sarah.
And I get no kickback if we use your
or
insurance.
not. And Laskowski. All right.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead,
just
Sarah.
unmuted myself now. Okay,
You're
I'm
good.
good now. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Well, listen, first of all, I can't even tell you how excited I am to have Jimmy come on board. He's just such a great round out of the team. And, you know, what our goal is for 2022 is to increase our business in this office and to help you guys be successful. Because like Michael said, this is a brutal, brutal market. Your buyers need solid pre-approvals, they need quality, you know, service, and they need knowledge, because those are the things that actually boost them up and you're going to win deals. They also need to be fully educated on the risks, and you guys need to understand the appraisal.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I think you got muted by accident. I apologize.
I think that's what Sean's happening.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
We can.
Okay. So we're here to support you, and we're here to make sure that your transactions are easy and smooth. You know, we're going to be communicating with you. There's going to be some lending changes that are going to come up on April 1st, and it's going to impact some sections. It's not a GRA thing, it's a mortgage world thing. And we're going to work through them, and our company is here to support you guys with products, with service, and of course, Jimmy and I are here locally. I just want to touch real quickly on pre-approvals being so important right now. Obviously your buyers, and also if you're listing, you have a listing and you want us to take a look at some of your pre-approvals, and you know, because let's be honest, you can't be risking out there when, you know, you get to pick the best one. And so, you know, we're here to help and you navigate through that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Jimmy, I think I saw you on here. I welcome you to say a few words if you like, and welcome to the team.
Thank you, guys. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate being part of this Coldwell Banker Maplewood family. Like I said, my only goal here is to make you guys look better than me. So please rely on the team, myself and Sarah, to take you guys to the finish line. Use this as much as we can. Leverage us through video, through networking, whatever you can. We're going to make that process easy for you. So the goal is completely to make all of us look good, so all of our clients look better. I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thank you. And for those of you who don't know Jimmy, he does a phenomenal job on, you know, all forms of media. So whether it's social media, whether it's video, whether it's podcasts, he's all over the place networking. And I encourage you, for anybody who's really looking to get into video or, you know, try to build some interview skills, like Jimmy does an awesome job with that. I would leverage that as well. He's somebody who, you know, clearly you could see the setup he has, you know, right on the video now. But in general, I love watching his stuff. So thank you. And the one thing I want to add to that, and then I'll kind of keep it moving, is we are going to do a cocktail party in February. We're already kind of like plotting that behind the scenes, and I would love for you guys to all come. And to that end, like, I know we're doing a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting today, but I really want to get in front of you guys. Like, I want to start doing some in-person stuff. For those of you who are uncomfortable with that, I completely get it. We'll do some recordings and that. But, you know, after this meeting, we are going to start to get in, you know, in person and start to meet with one another more and more often. I'm just going to be honest about that. All right. Thank you, guys. So I'm going to keep it moving now to the next topic. And I'm going to start with a quote. This is kind of jumping into the meat of my meeting. And it says, "The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy." I don't expect most of you to know what the hell I'm talking about, because, you know, if you would have asked me, you know, prior to like digging into all of this, that would have meant nothing to me. But I think that by the end of this meeting, hopefully you'll understand what that quote is and its relevance. So for starters, I'm QR codes and all of that is something that we're definitely going to be using a lot more this year. And I wanted to kind of plant the seed. If you haven't followed our Facebook page, I just didn't want this to get pushed to the end of the meeting, so it has no relevance to Sisyphus. But you know, follow our Facebook page or our Instagram page. The other one is our Facebook page. If you haven't already, these will be in the slides. So all you got to do is click the picture and it'll just link it right up for you. And we're going to do a lot with QR codes. I think that that's where we need to be marketing wise. And I'm going to teach you a little bit about that later in the meeting. All right, so awards. Awards wise, we had an awesome year this year. So I want to congratulate all of you. What I decided to do is just take the top 10 individuals and take the top 5 teams. And I'm going to do, I'll probably build out a little bit more than just that for Facebook ads. Like I might do the most units and stuff like that where it's applicable. But for the purpose of this, it was a very similar list on both. So that's why I just left it more simplistic rather than taking up more of your time. Number 10 is Steven Saracusa. He was the top 10 individual. I got to give Steve credit. Many of you may not even know who he is because this is his first year in business. And as his first year to crack into our top 10 is really incredible. I will say this, like in his first year in business, he went gold Circle of Excellence. Gold. I mean, that is absolutely insane. So I give kudos to Steve, and it kind of leads me right into, and I'm just going to use this as an interlude to say he was our Rookie of the Year for Maplewood. So congratulations to Steve. I'm really proud of you, and you kicked ass this year. Marvin Williams, number 9. Marvin doubled his business practically year over year. So awesome job to you, Marvin. And Marvin is in the office working all the time, so you guys know that. Kathy Knapp is a perennial leader always. She finished number 8, so congratulations to Kathy. Number 7, Abigail Morai, who had a big jump in her business this year, so congratulations to Abby. Lara LaCourie is number 6. Lara is mark of consistency as well. She's consistently hit the same level or a little bit higher year after year for the past several years, so congrats, Lara. Heather Rodriguez had a nice jump this year in her business. She's a lone wolf out in Somerset County for us, and she works out of our Maplewood office. Does an awesome job. She finished number 5 as an individual agent this year. So congratulations, Heather. Number 4 is Caroline Farnsworth. Caroline has been a top producing agent for many, many years, as you know, but she stays consistent, and she did it yet again this year. Number 3 is Ben Garrison. Ben has been trying to do a lot of stuff on his, on the back end with he's been getting his house ready and doing things, contemplating a sale, and yet he still just crushes it year after year after year. So congratulations to you, Ben. Number 2, and I always list number 2 as top 1% because it's true. And I like to put 2 number 1s in place. This year was Jen McManus. Jen, just like unbelievable rise in business from being, on a team as a team member to being her own agent and just showing everybody out there that she's a top producer, and she's just done it consistently year after year. So congratulations on your success this year, Jen. And then finally is Ann Laskowski. Ann finished number 1. Ann and Jen, like all year long, were battling back and forth. That's why I put, 1% and number 1. They both had absolutely outstanding years. So congratulations to Ann. You really did crush it. Number 5 on the team front was Lisa and Carla. Lisa and Carla, between moves and a lot of, personal life stuff going on, the fact that they've been able to even get to the point where they're on this list is just such a testament to how good they are. And I really am proud of you guys. So congratulations for what you achieved. Number 4 is Mary Hour. Her and her husband, Michael. Michael's out of our Livingston office. Mary just consistently produces every single year and just has grown in the past several years, from a brand new agent to clearly a top producing agent. Now, the interesting part about Mary's business is I ranked her as a team because she technically is a team, but she would have been on either list as an individual or a team. She really did an amazing job this year. So awesome job to you, Mary. And, she Circle of Excellence as well. A lot of these people were all Circle of Excellence winners, which I'll certainly speak to at a future meeting. So new to our office was Augie Savino, Joan Karp, and Alyssa Pereira. And they came in this year and they kind of pooled their talents together, and they absolutely crushed it. So they were, number 3 in our office. I'm really happy that they achieved what they did. I think all of them had their best year ever in business. And I was really impressed by, what they came together and did collectively. So congratulations to you guys. Kate Elliott. So Kate Elliott started last year, the Kate Elliott team started last year And I remember Kate came to me and she was like, I am burned out. She was burned out from 2020. She did an awesome job in 2020 and she really was just like, I need a break. And she did. She took some time off and yet she still, came back, roaring back like, towards the end of the year and really finished the year as, as one of the best agents and best teams in the company. So congratulations to Kate. And then finally, Amy Patternite, the Amy Patternite Homes. Amy finished #1 in the office, which I know for, her and Kate for years have gone back and forth. I love the fact that Amy is just the ultimate professional in terms of like treating her business like a business. She really does take the time to, to track things and to make sure that she's running her business like a business owner should. And one of the things that I'm most proud of about Amy that I wanted to just point out, because many of you, you're not at that production level, I understand, but we all start somewhere is the point. And I looked back 10 years ago, obviously this is my 10-year anniversary with the office. And I look back to Amy's Amy's business when I first started, and she literally 10x'd since the day that I met her. So, if you look at her business, the year that I got there, which was exactly 10 years ago, to today, she's doing 10 times as much business as she was back then. And, I just think that it's, again, a testament for what she's done. And she's had years where she's risen. She's had years where she's plateaued and then risen again. It's not this like straight line up. And I think that, knowing that and seeing that firsthand, is important because this business is tough. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. And, to everybody who made these lists, this is not an easy list to make. I mean, and I'll show you in a little bit kind of how successful our office really was. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at Colette Andrews, who's on my screen, and I want to give you a shout out. Colette Andrews and Elaine Ehrenkrantz both were within $4,000 of the top 10. And so you want to talk about honorable mention, it was a rental difference between them. So it just shows you, how competitive of an office we have and how much business we're actually doing. So congratulations to you guys as well. All right. So I told you I was going to get into a little Greek mythology, and I'm hoping that this helps you better understand how I see the world of multiple offers. So we're going to get into a little mindset, first of all, and then I'm going to talk about how to win. First of all, the multiple offers that we're dealing with right now are just insane. I mean, I'm obviously I'm handling most of the offers that are coming in because, 20 to even more than that, probably about 40% of the offers that come in, the listing agent has their own offer on. So I'm getting these offers and I'm handling them on a daily basis. And I'm also, dealing with all of you who are dealing with the multiple offer side of it from a buyer side. So I'm kind of getting both sides of it and I get all this information and I see these numbers that come in and my head wants to explode in certain instances because I can't believe some of these houses are selling and what they're selling for. So, what it makes me think of is that I hear this over and over again is, and I it's paraphrased, but it's this futile and hopeless labor. So people are, I'm writing these offers and I know my buyer's not going to win. There's 30 offers on this house and I know they're just not coming in strong enough. And it's this constant, barrage of, I feel like I'm working and not really accomplishing anything that continues to happen. And I feel for you. I honestly do, because it's not an easy thing to write up offers knowing you're not going to win. But it made me think of something that, I came across and I wanted to share it with you, and it's from the Iliad of Homer. And basically what he writes about is Sisyphus. So I don't know how many of you guys know who Sisyphus is. I'm sure some of you do, but Sisyphus is basically this Greek mythology of, this mortal, he was a man, is punished to the underworld by Pluto and Zeus, who forces him to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity. And basically, as soon as he gets to the top of the hill, the boulder falls back down the hill and he has to walk back down the hill to then push this boulder back up. It's futile labor at its best for the rest of eternity. You're not, you're never accomplishing anything. He's pushing this boulder up, it floats back down, and it's back again, back again.
On the market this week, period.
Susan is really excited about Sisyphus.
And
so, what I was going to say though is this, so when you're, when you think about Sisyphus and this back and forth thing, there's a very famous, before I get there, his crime was cheating death. And to cheat, like, you know, because he cheated death and he had this passion for life, his punishment was eternally exerting energy and accomplishing nothing. So like that's the crime and the punishment. There's this very famous French philosopher, Camus, who basically writes this whole, you know, essay. It's like a 19-page thesis on the myth of Sisyphus. And it's a really interesting thing, and it kind of like, you know, my wife Kristen is an English teacher, and she gets into all this. She teaches about Camus, and so her and I were having a pretty funny conversation back and forth about this. But put me onto this, and I started reading it, and it really like kind of like struck a chord for me in many different ways. So first of all, his thought process is life is absurd. That's like, you know, his general thesis and the way he writes, Camus writes, is life is absurd. And what that really means is we reach out to life and we like search for the meaning of life, and the world is, you know, and the universe doesn't respond. And that's the absurd, is like basically we're not getting a response back on all these efforts that we're putting out there. And I know that seems like a very negative stance, but it's actually quite the opposite. Like Camus talks about this in a very positive light, which I'm going to get to. So he has this theory that the realization that life is absurd cannot be the end, but it's just the beginning. So here's where we're going with this is Sisyphus is pushing this rock up and down the hill. And that to me correlates to you writing up all these crazy multiple offers and not feeling like you're getting the rewards that you want for your actions. And that's frustrating. There's no doubt about it. But in the myth of Sisyphus, like what Camus focuses on is this theory of consciousness. And what consciousness is it's the moment that Sisyphus gets up to the top of the hill and he turns back and the ball is, you know, the boulder is rolling back down the hill. That's the moment of, you could argue, of despair, because that's the moment where now he's consciously realizing he has to walk back down this hill to do everything all over again. And I view that in the same light that you guys do when you get an offer rejected. So, you know, I wrote this offer and I have this sense of hope. I'm getting to the top of the hill. And then all of a sudden the offer gets rejected, and now it's consciousness, and I'm feeling like, oh, like I can't believe I just wrote another offer and another offer got rejected. And some of you feel this because you're writing to me, you're texting me and emailing me and calling me, and, you know, you get like truly discouraged by that. So the consciousness, like the way that most people view this, is a tragic thing. Like, and what most people say is like the labor is not the torture, it's the consciousness that's the torture. Because the moment when you're writing up the offer, you're not feeling like the dread of writing up an offer, you're feeling the excitement. It's the moment that the offer gets rejected and it becomes conscious, that's when it's a hard thing to deal with. And it's the exact same thing with Sisyphus, is like the tragedy is not him pushing it up the hill, because pushing it up the hill is he's struggling to get it up the hill, he's pushing it up. It's kind of like he's in the moment, he's not really thinking about his eternity of this. But like when he turns back down the hill, that's the problem. So Camus offers a really interesting perspective on it. And he basically says, like, yes, you're thinking about this every day I'm hustling type theory, this rat on a wheel. But his argument is like, you're getting caught up and people are getting caught up in the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. When in reality, like, there's another way to look at this. And Camus' theory is that if Sisyphus could be a tragedy, it could also be a happy story. And so, you know, how can it be a happy story? And that's the question. And how could all of this that you guys are doing in this market that you're dealing with be a happy story? And I think that he does a pretty cool job of explaining it. So I'm going to connect the dots for you, and I'm going to use his words and then translate it into real estate, because I think that'll be a little bit fun for you. So there's 3 slides of this, but basically he says the absurd man says yes, and his efforts will henceforth be unceasing. For the rest, he knows himself to be the master of his days. So the real estate translation of that is, yes, the market is absurd. It's crazy right now. We all know that. Like, it's a nutty market, and that can be extremely frustrating. But work hard in spite of the absurd market, because the market's not going to be like this forever. And the reality is like, you're going to get some wins here or there, because that's just the nature of the market. The last thing is you control your business, not the market. So, you know, the more you're putting yourself in a position to pick up clients and the more you're putting yourself in a position to improve the way you write up offers, the better off you're going to be. Like, so you are the master of your days is essentially what he's saying, and what he's saying about Sisyphus. The next paragraph is, I leave Sisyphus at the foot of the mountain. One always finds one's burden again, but Sisyphus teaches the higher fidelity that negates the gods and raises rocks. He too concludes that all is well. The universe, henceforth without a master, seems to him neither sterile nor fertile. Each atom of that stone, each mineral flake of that night-filled mountain in itself forms a world. So again, the real estate translation. There will always be a hurdle tomorrow. Every day of your life, there's going to be another hurdle because the market's going to change and you're going to deal with other hurdles related to that market. Like, forget the hurdles. Like, it's not about the hurdles. Like, you just got to keep pushing through it because it's the nature of the beast. That's the market that we're dealing in. Depending on whatever market it is, it's always the same thing. It's going to be okay. Like, you know, you got to keep hope alive and focus on your work. Like with Sisyphus, like his focus is pushing this boulder up the hill. Focus on writing up better offers. And let's talk about how to do that. Each contract, each negotiation, each client. That's what it is. You just got to focus on that and not the greater whole of this crazy market, because you're going to make yourself sick. And the last thing is what we started with, which is the struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine syphilis, good Lord, Sisyphus happy. Real estate translation. This business is equally hard, but it's equally, you know, awesome. It's an awesome business. And, you know, I think that like just keeping that, you know, that faith and that like thought process alive is important. I really think that we have to keep context. And what I wanted to do is to expand upon this. I wanted to talk about the absurd. And the absurd right now is the market. And if you understand the one thing that Camus spoke about that I think is such a perfect parallel to today is if you really understand the absurdity of what, you know, Sisyphus is doing and Sisyphus is doing, and you translate it to what you're doing, like it makes sense. Like you understand that the market is crazy, but you don't know how crazy it is until you really look at the statistics. So I wanted to kind of dive into that. I used rate of absorption as the marker for this because I think rate of absorption tells the story that needs to be told in today's market. So for those of you who've never heard of rate of absorption, or for those of you who just need a reminder, it's a snapshot of supply and demand. And what it refers to is basically if no other houses came on the market, how long would it take the current demand to eat up everything that's on the market? That's the snapshot. So think about this. Rate of absorption in a normal market is like 5 months, in that range. You know, call it above 5 months is a buyer's market. 5 months is a equilibrium. That's like an equal market. And then below 5 months is a seller's market. The last 9 years, Maplewood has dropped rate of absorption wise. Excuse me, 9 out of the last 10 years, it's dropped. In 10 years ago, we had 5 months worth of inventory. Right now, we have 0.35 months worth of inventory, 0.35. So if you were to translate this into what that actually means, that means if no other houses came on the market, it would take approximately 10 days for every house on the market to be sold. That is insane. It's insane. That's not normal. There's nothing normal about that. There's no inventory on the market. That's why every time you get a listing, like it's gold. Because you're taking a listing and like it's going to sell. There's no question it's going to sell. Everything's selling. If you have an expired listing in today's market, something is really wrong with that seller. Like, you know, they're just not listening or, you know, or what have you. They just can't sell, whatever the reason is. But, you know, everything that you take listing wise should sell right now. 10 days. So the point of this is like when you think of him pushing that boulder up the hill, like, yes, you're doing that. You're going to lose more than you win. Like, it's normal. Like, you have to have it in your mind that you're going to lose far more than you win in today's market. Most of your offers are not going to get accepted. And I know that sucks to hear, but it's just the truth. And if you sit around and you beat yourself up over it, because I know I'm having this conversation because many of you are coming to me with this thought process. Is, you're coming to me feeling beat up with the market because you keep losing, and you're having this like anxiety related to maybe I'm doing something wrong. No, the market is really tough right now. Like in today's market, you're going to lose more than you win. But here's the beautiful part. Unlike him pushing the boulder up that hill, there's hope. This is not internal damnation. Like the reality is that struggle will never end for him, but there's winning for you. Like some of you guys, many of you, I just went through the successes of the award winners. Many of you have increased your business, doubled your business, went up by 20, 30, 40%. Some of you did 4 times as much business year over year. Like, I mean, it's possible they're still winning. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but you guys are finding a way. So most of you, and I thought about this the other day, is when people call me up, my job is to help you win. That's my job, is like figure out a way to help you win. And that's what I do all day long, is like figure out winning strategies. And, you guys bounce stuff off of me, and I take in all the different things that I learn and try to throw it back at you. And one of the things that I always feel is like, I'm not going to win immediately. Like I will not win immediately, but I'm going to win. Like that's my mentality in life. And I hope that you guys carry the same mentality with you, because I really do believe that, and it's, you got to understand, like when I reach out to you, in a way, I'm hopefully reaching out to your clients, because your clients need to feel that. Like your clients, this is not just a pep talk for you. This is more of like helping your clients understand that they shouldn't give up hope just because they lost a few multiple offers, because that's the fastest way for you to lose business, is to have your clients give up and say, you know what, we're going to rent for another year, or we're going to buy somewhere else because there's just not, there's nothing for us to buy. Like you have to give them hope. You have to help them understand that it's a tough market, but you're going to get it done for them. So mentality wise, here's the biggest tangible thing that I could say to you right now, that I'm watching many, many people make this mistake. And I really want you to be like conscientious of it, because it really is a mistake. A Mythbuster, let's call it. You're going into multiple offers, and I know that, most of you or all of you really care about your clients' well-being. You don't want to see them overpay. You don't want to see them, come in with something that makes no sense in the historical context of the market. I understand all that. It's not the market for that. Like if your thought process is you're going to tell people, and I've had a lot of people say to me more recently, like, oh my God, my clients want to come in with X, but I can't even in good conscience, like have them come in with that offer. I have to talk them off of that number. Don't do it. And I'm not telling you that like with self-serving, interests in mind. I'm telling you that because they're going to lose. I can't tell you how many times in the past 2 weeks, people have come to me and said to me, you know what? I have to tell my buyers that, they're paying too much for this house. And I know in the back of my mind, because I've had conversations with 5 other people who have interest on that same house, that not only are they going to lose with the number that they were talking about, but they're going to lose by a wide margin. So you could look at the Maplewood Lights report or Montclair or any of these other towns. The average house last year sold for 109% in Maplewood. The average house, 109%. The average in Montclair sold for 119%. 85% of the market sold over the asking price in both those towns. Like this is not the market to start feeling bad about what prices you're coming in with, because I can tell you the numbers that I've been seeing in the past 2 weeks way exceed that Lights report. Way, way, way exceed that Lights report. Like if you come in at 109% in the last 2 weeks, you're getting blown out. It's not even close. So I tell you that because like if your thought process is like, oh no, I have to save my buyers, I don't want them to overpay, like you might as well just tell them not to participate in today's market, because that's the market we're in. Confined only by the walls you build yourself. Stop building walls and preventing yourself from getting multiple offers. And I'm serious about that. It's okay for you to give them historical context, but you also have to give them today's context. You have to tell them like, listen, I know what that house sold for 6 months ago, but I'm telling you right now, it's selling for a whole lot more today. So I want to give you a couple of reflections, unless you guys have any thoughts about what I just said, which I certainly open the floor at any time. I'm just going to keep it moving. I have about a half hour left, and I'm going to talk about some reflections on what our office accomplished in the last 12 months, because it's pretty awesome. For starters, I know we're all getting recruited. You don't think I'm getting recruited? All of us are getting recruited. And quite frankly, I really have no interest in any other competitors. So many of you guys come to me and like, oh, so-and-so called me. Like, awesome. I believe it. Like, it doesn't matter to me. And I think that what we've done as a group kind of like signifies like what we're all about. Our average person, we have 150 plus people in our office. The average person in our office last year made over $100,000. The average. You know how awesome that is? I mean, there's no office around that does those numbers. Like, not to the scale that the number of people we have and, you know, and production wise, that's our average. I mean, we're making 6-figure incomes on average. Like, that to me is just, you know, such a telling tale of who you guys are and how much production you do. So I just wanted to tip my hat to you on that. Applause are due. I'm reading. Jared, I'm going to get to a couple of things about offers in a second, so I'm just going to table that question. I appreciate it. I like to talk to you about the marketplace as a whole. The biggest losers last year, like on the MLS, Keller Williams, Remax, and Weichert. And when I say biggest losers, these are people, I'm not trying to like critique anybody. That's not the point. It's more of who lost the most amount of production, leaving their operations to go to other companies. So Keller Williams was by far the #1 company that people left. Remax was #2, and third is Weichert. This is for the entire MLS as a whole. The 3 top offices in terms of growth, or top companies in terms of growth, I should say, EXP, Coldwell Banker, and Compass. So EXP and Compass, they're upstarts. They're just getting going in New Jersey in the last few years. You know, they should have some ins coming in. You know, the only way that they're going to have business is people growing and coming to them, because they didn't have any business to start with. The fact that we literally outproduced Compass in terms of growth is awesome. I mean, we've been around for 115 years. Like, it just shows you how well we're doing in New Jersey. So congratulations to you guys on that. I love this. We've been, you know, we finished number 2 in the state in terms of growth, and meaning, you know, Coldwell Banker as a whole, and our office finished #1 for Coldwell Banker, 5 years in a row. So, you know, you guys did an amazing job in terms of growing your business. And, you know, I'm obviously proud to every year win these awards. You know, it's an awesome thing when every manager says, what are you doing over there? Like, it's a great thing. So kudos to all of you guys. I appreciate that. We finished #1. I have Jordan 5 years in a row. So we were #1 this year. We were #1 5 years in a row. And maybe more impressive than being #1 for 5 years in a row is the #2. We were #2 in the country. So I mean, if you think about it, we're competing against, you know, the Beverly Hills and the New York Cities and the Miamis and Chicagos. For us to be #2 in the country is just awesome. You know, Maplewood, New Jersey being #2 is just like, you know, it blows everybody else out of the water in terms of, you know, accomplishments. So congratulations to all you guys for, you know, for growing your business and, you know, and showing that we're capable of doing that. And this is not based off of percentages, by the way. This is based off of actual numbers. So, you know, to compete on that scale is just, you know, again, a testament to you. And then the last thing I want to talk about was Coldwell Banker as a whole. We're in the most competitive real estate market in the history of time. You know, and I mean that from a production standpoint, but I also mean that from the perspective of competitors. Like, you know, every competitor is like, you get calls, recruiting calls every 5 minutes. I know all of you do, because I do. So knowing that, like, what I thought was pretty awesome about what CB accomplished this year is we had our best year ever in the history of our company for retention. We've never retained more of our production than we did this year. And I think that it shows that we really do have some pretty cool tools and services that we're providing. And Tracy said #2 in what? We're #2 in production growth. So in terms of, and by the way, production growth is GCI. It's not, and we're going to get to this in a second. It's not units and it's not volume. It's GCI. It's total gross. So I want to show you the the real numbers, and not all of this is like glorious, but I actually, this is very truthful in terms of what we were able to do. In 2017, we did 242 transactions. 2018, my goal was 500. We did 510. We nearly doubled our business. In 2019, we did 642. Now, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but 2020, we had this global pandemic that came into place, and it kind of changed things a little bit. So in 2020, we had really the greatest artificial real estate market you're ever going to see. We jumped up to 827. That's sold homes in 2020. Now, and nobody realized that we were going to do that in 2020. That was such a significant jump. And really, those numbers are a bit artificial. So going into this year, Realogy as a whole, myself, I knew that the likelihood of us getting to that number was very unlikely. And unfortunately, we did not. So we went from 827 down to 751, which I got to tell you, I'm really proud of. And the reason why I'm really proud of that is sucked out of those numbers, our office is very much investor driven. There's practically no investor driven business this year, like in 2021, because the market was so hot that investors were getting outbid by, end users. So that whole segment of our business, in many ways, came to not a close, but like it slowed down. We had no foreclosures this past year. That's a big part of our business for years. Like we had no, short sales, REOs, none of that stuff. So for us to, come pretty close to what we did in 2020 with all of these revenue streams being sucked out of our office, I think it just speaks to how well we did. And here's the crazy twist. We actually did better than we did last year because of average sale price. So average sales price in 2020 was $538,000. That was our average sales price. We increased that number to $566,000 this past year. So I want to give you, like, when you multiply that times our total production, that $28,000 per deal extra equates to $21 million in volume. I mean, that's like picking up, a Jen McManus, a Ben Garrison, an Ann Laskowski. Like, it's picking up some of these top producing agents. It's like one of them joined our office. That's how much production we gained, from just the growth. It also equated to over $500,000 in extra commission for all of you. So when you think about, the marketplace, like there were less deals being had, but they were done at a higher price, which actually led to overall greater success. So that is really what helped us maintaining the growth that we had, and kind of like we still way outproduced 2019 numbers, but like being able to duplicate that with the price points we had was obviously something that was really good for us. So I'm going to kind of move off of, general trends, and I'm going to talk about some really tangible stuff for the next 15 minutes. Victory comes from finding opportunities and problems. I want to give you hands-on examples of things that I believe could help you in your business that will solve problems for you that you don't even know you have. So for starters, all of this relates back to CB Desk. These are all tools that we've had or about to have that will really put more money in your pocket. So number one, exclusive look. And I want to give you a specific example. You guys don't know about this yet, or at least some of you might, but it got leaked out a little bit. But I want to talk about OT. So OT just took an exclusive at 126, 128 Wyoming Ave in Maplewood. That listing, we were battling against two top producers, both from Keller Williams. And OT called me up and said, Michael, I really want this listing. Can you come on a listing presentation with me? I said, absolutely. So we went on the listing presentation, and I want to tell you what the seller said to us. The seller said, I've interviewed other people. Essentially, what are you going to do differently for us? But the context of the conversation was they're pregnant. They're about to, have a baby later in the year, and they don't want to move their family. They're moving out of the area. They don't want to move their family. Really, they wanted to enter the market in June. So as soon as they said that, I lit up inside. And the reason I lit up inside is I realized, you know what? They wanted a reach number. They want 1.4 million, which I didn't necessarily think it was a $1.4 million house, just to be clear. And we said that to them. So we were honest about price. We didn't, it's not like we were, inflating numbers or anything like that. And I said to them, you know what? We're not going to talk marketing. We're actually going to take a different approach here, because everybody else was telling them about all the fancy marketing that they had. And I said, I'm not going to talk marketing at all. Like if we go to list the property moving forward, we could talk marketing. I said, but what I'd like to talk about is strategy. And I said, you guys right now have an enormous opportunity that you don't even realize and nobody else is talking to you about. I said, we're dealing with one of the best markets that I've ever seen we're dealing with the best market I've ever seen in my career, just to be clear. And, and that's 15 years worth of it. So I have not seen, even in 2006, it wasn't this crazy. So when I talked to them, I said, you could take advantage of today's market, or you could wait to June and roll the dice. I said, but why not get 2 bites at the same apple? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, we could take it as an exclusive. And the difference between Coldwell Banker and everybody else as an exclusive is we have a system behind the scenes called Exclusive Look. And Exclusive Look allows us to shop this out to 30% of the market without you adding up any days on market for yourself. There's no days on market between now and June. You get the benefit of testing the price. You get the benefit of a third of the marketplace being able to see it. And there's no risk to you. So if you decide that a buyer comes in during that time and gives you guys what you want or somewhere close to that, awesome, you accept the offer. And if they don't, you could still list your house in June and come to market in the MLS. And when it gets to that point, we can have a conversation about like all of the marketing we do. But we're not even going to do all that right now, because why would you add up days on market knowing that you have this term for the future? How many people do you know in your life that have that same situation where they really want to sell their house? They want to take advantage of today's market, but they're just not ready to sell right now because for whatever reason, for life reasons, they want to sell at the end of the school year, or they want to sell when their job is, they're retiring 5 months from now, or they want to sell when they could go out and buy a house. Like they can't find what they're looking for. A lot of people, that's one of the biggest challenges in today's market is I can't find a house to live in. All right, well, project the closing date all the way further. And we said, we talked about strategies like what happens if they get an offer today? He said, if I get 1.4, I'm packing. I said, awesome, let's do that. Like, he said to me, like, well, what if you get a little less? Well, if I get a little less, like, it depends what the rest of the terms are. Maybe we'll do a quick close and a lease back. Maybe we'll do, we'll extend the closing date. There's options. We did not compete for this listing. We did not go out and get this listing on marketing. None of it was about marketing. We won this listing on strategy. And I'm telling you right now, if you start to use that strategy more, no other company in real estate has Exclusive Look. Nobody else has an internal system to push out exclusives to thousands of agents in the marketplace. Use it. Use it to your advantage and give your sellers what they're asking for, because this is a problem that you could help solve for them. And, the Robert Northfields and the Vanessa Pollocks and all these other people that we were competing with, they didn't have that, and we beat them on strategy. That's it. And by the way, all of the agents that he was competing with did significantly more business than OT. So it wasn't about like, oh, OT does more business and that's why we're going to list with them. No, it had nothing to do with that. We were smarter than they were. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about is Listing Concierge. And I don't know why our usage rate on Listing Concierge is like in the 37%. It does not make sense to me, but I want to talk to you about why it doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, I don't just rah-rah with pom-poms about Coldwell Banker or anything. I do it with with a thought process in mind. So let's talk about Listing Concierge. I'm going to use Steve Saracusa, our Rookie of the Year. Steve came to me early in his, he was just started as an agent. He did not know anything, respectfully, because he's brand new. He did not know anything about marketing, and he had an opportunity to get a listing. And so, I went with him and we talked about the listing, and he said, what do I get to do with marketing? I said, it's a really easy, situation. Listing Concierge. You don't have to think about marketing. All you got to do is be able to present this. It's a 12-minute presentation. Just talk about all the different ways that we market the house. Like, let me show it to you, and this is what you do. So he did. He went in and he talked about the 12 different things, or whatever it is, or not 12 different things, the 12-minute presentation related to the things that we do to market the house. He gets the listing, puts the listing on the market, out goes the flyers. And he did a gold package, which you don't have to do, but this is what he chose to do because it was a nicer home and he wanted to, to really like shine in the marketplace. So he did a gold package. The house that he had brought on the market was 9 and change. Does a gold package, it shoots it out to the neighborhood. Another neighbor down the street gets his mailer. That neighbor is listed with, I think, Berkshire Hathaway, and says they were listed for about 100 days, give or take, and says, this is better marketing than anybody else has done for my home. I want to fire my agent. So they literally went to Berkshire Hathaway and they said, Steve didn't know anything along these lines. He got a call from them. He didn't realize who it was. They were listed. There was nothing that he did to try to go out and steal a piece of business. It had nothing to do with him. They reached out and they said, my agent is not marketing the way you are. Like, you clearly are a profoundly better marketer than my agent is. Like, I want to get out of the listing. So he called me up and said, what do I do? And I said, you can't do anything until their listing expires or they, have a conversation with Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know how the sellers did it, but the sellers went back to Berkshire Hathaway and said, I want a release. And Berkshire Hathaway said yes and gave them an unconditional release. So he got an unconditional release. They literally listed it with Steve for 6% and he sold the house in 2 weeks. He did another listing concierge package. The man, with due respect, because he did a great job of like making this happen, he didn't know anything about marketing. Literally nothing. He was brand new. Like, he came in, we did all the marketing for him. And I just want you to understand the math behind this. In one of the listings, the first listing, is it worth it is the question. In the first listing he did, he spent $400. He made $28,000. Like, it pays for the next 70 listings, literally. And you would have had to pay money to go out and get photography anyway. So it's just really a no-brainer in terms of the marketing that they're doing. And it's a really easy sales tactic. So the other piece that I don't know if you guys realize this or not, because to me, like, if you don't realize that, I really hope that you like take notice and notes in this meeting. You guys know, do any of you ever click on Home Spotter? Because when you do a listing concierge, it does all of this marketing for you on all these different sites. All of those sites are picking up leads. So in addition to spending the money and getting the return and everything else,
What are you doing about what?
Shades that don't work.
Facilities.
talking right now, but
So it's like,
5444.
I'm just gonna mute real quick. Sorry.
Motorized?
In addition to, getting that return, I went into Home Spotter and I said, because people always complain to me, oh, I want more leads and all that stuff. So I went into Home Spotter and I said, what is the actual return on the leads that we're getting from the listings we're taking? I have real numbers for you. I wanted you to see this. So in real numbers in our office, we did 134 total requests for listing concierge packages. We got 10,567 leads that came in off of Home Spotter. That equates to 79 leads per every listing that we took. I mean, we're talking about like a package that every single time we do a listing concierge, you're getting these leads, whether you do a bronze package or you do a platinum package, you're still getting this. You can't spend $400 and get 79 leads. Like, you can't do that on Facebook right now. So from my perspective, like, you take all those leads, you throw them into an incubation software, a CRM, which I'm going to show you in a second. And to me, like, that will give you a return onto itself. Forget about the residual marketing that you're getting and the time you get back in your schedule. It is literally a no-brainer. And the reason why it's a no-brainer, I see the budget behind this. Every single time we take a listing concierge package, it costs the office thousands of dollars. You're not paying for that. We are. So anybody who's not using this program, I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You get so much more benefit than the actual cost of it is. And it works. Like, it's a very simple thing. Like, use whatever you're doing, but do this as well, because you're not going to get more marketing than we're spending on this. Number 3. Notice how passionate I get about this stuff? All right, number 3. RealVitalize. So RealVitalize, when it first came out, we talked about this, and one of the things we said was, the real estate commission, the inducement laws, like, we got to be careful about how we put that out there and all that stuff. Our legal team said it's not a problem anymore. So the last 2 Matters Magazine's ads that I ran were RealVitalize, because I know it works and I know that it's going to help us try to get some more business. But I want to teach you something that I learned the other day that was a big aha moment for me. So the whole point about the megaphone is you could talk about it on listing presentations and all that stuff, not a problem. Talk about tank pulls, because this came up. So we think of RealVitalize, and what we think about is a listing that needs work to the listing. Like they have an example is like they got to get their kitchen redone. Well, some people need money to redo their kitchen. Some people don't even need a new kitchen. And other people need a new kitchen, but they have the funds to do it. They don't need to borrow ours. All that may be true, but I want you to think about it this way. You can, and you should do this, I strongly encourage you to do this. When you take a listing, you can, at the time that you take the listing, put in a RealVitalize registration for that listing and not take any money. And I know that may seem like, well, what the hell's the point? Why would I do that? The point is, you could use that money later on during inspections. So if that person, and this is the example that happened, there was an oil tank in the front yard. They didn't need any money to do their house. Their house looked great. They weren't trying to borrow a dime. But when the inspections came about, they needed money for an oil tank removal and they didn't have the money to do it. And that deal would have died. But it didn't die because we still had an application running for RealVitalize, and they just used the funds that we had. They pulled the tank out and they closed. Every single listing that you take, this should be part of what you do. Just pull an application. It takes you 5 minutes to do, and you're essentially creating it's like a home warranty of sorts. Like you're creating this behind the scenes leverage of our money to get to a closing table. Colette, you have a question, please?
Yeah. So in this case, what if they had like a soil contaminated soil?
They could borrow more money if they wanted to. They could essentially borrow the money they need to get the work done. That's the point. So it's, ultimately, they could borrow as much money as they want. I see in the description, Amy wrote, I took a 7.5% listing. I cannot even tell you how many listings I've taken for 10, 20, 8%, because people want more money and they're basically flipping their own house and they're okay with the number in return. So yeah, there's no question about it. Colette, to your answer, they could borrow what they need to do the work related to it. And it keeps deals together. But to me, it's just one thing that I never thought about, registering a seller for RealVitalize when they don't even need money to get their house ready. But it's just a protection that you have to try to keep deals together later. Do it. And it's also a great talking point. When you're on a listing presentation, listen, one of the things that I'm going to do for you is when I list your property, I'm going to register you for this, and it will give you protection later. If something comes up during home inspections, we will have resources to leverage these funds to do the work should you need to. Let's just say there's knob and tube wiring and the buyer can't get insurance. All right, well, here's your answer to that. I'm going to keep it moving for time. 4, Moxi Works. You are going to get a ton of information about Moxi Works. We're launching a new CRM, new website. All of our tools are, InTouch, and all the tools related to that go away. Yes, it's against the final sales price, Tracy. All of our tools for InTouch, they're all getting updated over to Moxi Works. It launches on March 7th. They are going to start doing, you probably saw them already, but if you haven't, they're going to start doing all sorts of trainings. Take the trainings. Jamie is going to be our resident expert on Moxi Works. This links up to social media. It links up to our Moxi Presents right now that we currently have for listings. It does everything, every bell and whistle that you could possibly hope for. Video marketing, text message marketing. It's optimized and built for teams. You could make the most extreme, deluxe website that you could imagine, or you could do a very basic thing. There's no you could do blogging into it. Everything is built into this site. You got to use it. And if you don't use it, I don't know what you're doing with your business, but believe me, this will help you. So when you talk about Moxi, I want to give you 2 examples. I'm going to give you a listing side example. I'm going to give you a buyer side example. Listing side example is Kate Elliott. Kate Elliott, and by the way, I'm highlighting 2 people. I'm highlighting the 2 top producers that we have in our office, Kate and Amy. And the reason why I am is because they didn't get there for, for just like, a fluky reason. Amy will laugh, but they didn't get there for, a fluky reason. They got there because they have systems in place. So the systems that they have are incubating leads when they're sleeping, and it's all CRM driven. When Kate's about to release this listing, you're going to get it in the next week. It's a new listing that she has in Bloomfield. So I said to her, I called both of them up and I said, I know you guys use, incubation systems and CRMs constantly. Tell me about, give me an example in the marketplace right now of people that you got that you don't even really talk to, that you just send, send stuff to them regularly. Kate said, these people, she's bringing this house on. She sold them the house 3-4 years ago. They redid the entire house. They're bringing it on the market. She barely even spoke with them. She said she's spoken to them once a year over the phone, and she just sends them stuff because they're part of her CRM. They listed with her. They came right back to her because they're like, oh, you reach out to us all the time. That's a perfect example. It's coming out. It's in the 3s. I don't remember the exact number, but it's in the 3s in Bloomfield, coming out in the next week, I think. So it's already listed, but it's already signed, but they're getting the house ready. Amy told me, and I love this story. I said, give me an example if you have one on the buyer or seller side. So Amy started laughing and said, oh, I definitely have an example. She goes, I had people that hit me up on my website. She goes, they were getting, incubated through my CRM. She goes, I just sold them a house. I haven't even met them yet. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, I literally haven't met them. She goes, I linked it up with the listing agent because I couldn't get to the house. It's a $700,000, $800,000 house. She sold them the house. She never even met these people because her systems are that freaking good. If you guys aren't using a CRM, you're behind the 8 ball. You have to use it. We're going to do a million different trainings on it. We have the best software in the industry that's launching in the next month. Utilize it and utilize our team, between myself, between Irv, between Jamie. Utilize us because all of us are getting trained in this. I want to make sure that we guys, we build your business with the tools we have. Do you want to add something, Amy? I saw you.
I'm going to meet them at the home inspection.
You're going to meet them at the home inspection.
I will meet them,
Awesome.
but I will meet them. It's not totally, I will meet them, but I'm not going to meet them until the home inspection.
Fair enough. Case in point, number 5, and this is a quick one, QR codes. If you go into My CB Desk and you click on the left-hand side, there's like a bar on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, there's something that says marketing. You click on marketing, there's a thing right in the middle of the page. Hopefully you could see my cursor that says generate QR code. So you could create any QR code you want like this. We already give you the tool for it. It's free. So you could put your website in or whatever you want to drive them to. You could put your YouTube channel, your Facebook page. I'll give you another easy example. What about all of you want to get Google reviews, or you want to get Zillow reviews, or you want to get LinkedIn reviews, or whatever, Yelp. You could put your Yelp page, or you could put your Google page, or whatever, your review page, and say, hey, listen, would you mind at the closing table or after the fact, hey, listen, can you just scan this QR code? And if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, I'd really appreciate it. What an easy way to do it for them. There's such a simple thing that you could do. Utilize it. Use QR codes for everything. Anytime you send out a mailer from our office, please God, have a QR code on it. It's such a better way to pick up business. People don't want to type in websites. I used to say, get vanity URLs. Forget vanity URLs. It doesn't even matter anymore. QR codes are where it's at. Everybody knows how to use one, and you can put instructions right next to it. Take a picture of me. It's simple. Use them. Or you could put open house online signing page. That's another good one, Tim. I appreciate you sharing that. It's true. So QR code is what I started with our IG page. Same thing with Facebook. I'm almost done. We're going to just talk about events briefly because I want to just put you on to a couple of events that are coming up that I'm going to be attending. First of all, if you haven't watched this yet, I would suggest reading his book. It's called Never Split the Difference. It's Chris Voss. It's a really great book. It's a negotiation book, but it's entertaining. He was the top FBI negotiator in the country for us for years. And I mean, who better than, his job is to be a professional negotiator, and it's life or death. So he knows what he's doing. What I would say is Coldwell Banker just went out and hired him to do a whole session. when you get this presentation from me, actually, I'll do you one even better. If you want to sign up for it, you go through you go to education on the desk, click on virtual education, and then click on master of the art of negotiation. And that's how you get to it. It's timed out because they have like some contract with him. It times out in early February. If you're going to watch it, you got to watch it this week. Like go on there and watch it immediately. The passcode for it is CB 2022. But I read his book. I loved his book. I haven't watched this. I was planning on watching it in the next couple of days, but I'm telling you, like, I would watch it because I just know that it's going to be good because I know how awesome he is in terms of negotiation. Next event I want to put you on to, and you're going to get an email from me after this meeting, is our Global Luxury Certification course. So I don't know what you guys know about this or don't know about this, but I used to teach this class, so I know what goes into this. Our Global Luxury program is the best in the industry. It's not even freaking close. Like, so when you're going after luxury listings, if you don't have this knowledge and this skill set and the tools, and one of the tools that I'm going to point out is the Global Luxury Black Box. When you open that thing up at a listing presentation, people's jaws drop. It's the best listing presentation I've ever seen in my entire life. It's not even close. So when you like, if you really want to learn luxury and you really want to up your sales price and tap into that market, this class is not just like some cookie cutter class. What they do is the reason why it's only offered every so often, and the reason why there's a price tag attached to it, is because we joined forces with basically global marketing, global luxury marketing, which is like their designation course for NAR. So you're going to get designated in luxury marketing right off the bat. The second thing that is a big piece of this is we literally tap on the shoulder all of our top luxury agents across the world to teach this class. So Frank Isolde from New Jersey is one of the instructors. Like when you talk about the people that are teaching this class, it's all of the top real estate agents for us that are doing luxury everywhere. And they're talking about all their tricks and tips on how to actually use our systems to get better listings. You're not going to get a better resource than that. I'm signed up for this class. If you want to sign up for this class, all you got to do is just register. Here's the QR code. You can take a picture of the screen if you want. Notice how I'm using my own tips. It's a really simple thing. All you got to do is sign up. It's 4-hour classes, 2 days in a row. It's a lot of class, but I will tell you that it's going to be great. And they're not going to do another one of these. I think they're going to do 2 of them this year. They're going to do one early in the year and then one, way after. Thank you, Amy. Amy just put up that Chris Voss is available to, February 10th. So definitely watch it this week if you want to watch it. That's all I got. I really am excited about 2022. I think we're going to have an awesome year. I know that I went a little bit over. We started a little bit late, so I don't feel that bad. But I went through a lot of ground here, and the biggest things that I would talk about is this is going to be the year for me personally that I'm going to double down on CV systems. I think that we're doing the best job that I have ever seen of, in all of the time that I've been in real estate. I've never seen a company starting to put together better systems and tools to help you guys sell more houses. I've never been like with my pom-poms out, like, oh, rah, you have to do everything CB. That's just not who I am as a person. But this particular year, I really think we need to double down on some of the stuff we have because it'll get you to the promised land. It will build your business. It will help you grow. And, it's what you're already a part of. So you might as well leverage it. And the only other thing I'm going to add to that point is the new head of marketing for like the global head of marketing is Lindsay Listansky. I don't know if you guys know her, but many of you do. Lindsay is like one of my best friends in real estate. I mean, her and I are very close, like, for years, in this company. Jerry Jacob, the manager of our Livingston office, that's his daughter. And, we kind of grew up in real estate together for the last 10 years. We very much help one another all the time. And she is going to crush that role. So I can already tell you some of the things that they're talking about is creating apps for video. Like, so you could, create like quick videos with like pre-rolls and post-rolls for videos. They're already in the process of doing that. They're really coming out with some pretty cool content that you're going to be able to put out. I mean, you're going to see a giant lift. We've been, unfortunately, like, and it's not a knock to her predecessors, but, you know, the people that came before her just were kind of like happy with status quo. She's not. She wants growth, and she wants to just take it to a whole different level. And believe me, she will. She was the head of our social media and marketing for a long time. She knows what she's doing. So I'm excited about all the different stuff we're coming out with. I think this is going to be a really great year, but we got to keep our heads up. We got to remember that we're not pushing a boulder up a hill and, you know, to no avail. Like, you know, there is winning here. And, you know, just realize that you're dealing with an absurd market. The market's absurd, so you have to act accordingly. That's all I have for you guys, but I'm opening it up to all questions, so please shout them out. And thank you, as always.
I have one question.
Congratulations to everyone.
Oh, thank you, guys. Colette, go ahead.
Michael, can you say the difference? Can you talk about the difference between the Compass Concierge program and the Coldwell Banker Concierge, Coldwell Banker program, Revitalize?
I'll tell you a couple of big differences. One, on a seller perspective, we don't put a lien against your house, so that's a big deal. Like, not everybody wants a lien against their property. We don't do that. Compass does. Another thing is, you know, we don't give you a budget. So a lot of Compass agents that I've spoken to kind of get annoyed because Compass basically limits their budget to an overall budget of, like, you could use $50,000 worth of budget. Like, whereas you have $50,000 of budget for every single listing that you take. So, you know, that's a big deal in terms of the differences. They're very restrictive in terms of what they're able to do, like in terms of the changes they can make to a house. We are not anywhere close to as restrictive. Another thing, and this is just, I want you to think bigger picture, you don't want to be the bad guy. So if for whatever reason they don't, let's just say they didn't sell their house and they don't want to pay us back. Coldwell Banker, like, literally did this through a third party. We're not going to be going after them in the Coldwell Banker name with bills. Compass will. Like, it's going to be like, you know, Compass sending them invoices. Like, I hate that because I don't want to be the company that's like going after them for, you know, for invoices. It just makes us look bad. We're not Blockbuster Video. So, I mean, knowing that, like, I think that's another big difference. And I'll tell you this, because I recruited people from Compass. If you use Compass Concierge while you're there and then you leave, they send you a bill for that money. So that's something that, like, counts against you, and they literally count it as like income that you used, and they try to get that back in an invoice to you directly. And I've seen that firsthand, so I could say that without a shadow of a doubt. You know, I tell you that because that's not happening here. This has nothing to do with you. If they don't pay back Compass Concierge, if the seller doesn't pay it back at Compass, you as an agent have to pay it. Like, this is not tied to your money at all. So there's some significant differences between the two. There's no question that ours is a better program. Colette, I know you had a question. Go ahead.
No, to follow up on Amy's question. So they have to have a certain dollar amount in equity for Coldwell Banker to do that, right?
It can't be in foreclosure. That's the only thing that it is. There's not, like, in terms of equity, no, they don't say anything about equity. It just can't be in foreclosure.
Okay. And my next question was about Listing Concierge. I've used it a number of times, and honestly, I don't like it. And I'm wondering if there's somebody who I can speak to about it, who's used it and utilized all the, you know, fully taken advantage of all that it offers, because personally,
I actually am, like, really appreciative that you were honest about this, because, like, I would rather address this publicly. Like, what didn't you like about it?
Who's this?
What didn't I like about it?
Good.
Just all the coordination starting, and then also like I would like a video. It doesn't offer videos. Like, if I want to get a video taken, I have to pay for that on my own. And the brochures, they, you know, like, you kind of have to plan it in advance of actually putting it on the market and so forth. It's not very quick.
So I'll tell you, I'll talk to timeline, and then I'll talk to a couple of different pain points you just had. One, I don't disagree with you on video. They do have what we've done, and I don't know if we've done a really great job of explaining this properly, but what we've done is we've actually coordinated with the vendors that, you know, we're using, where if you wanted to add on a video, they should actually give you reduced pricing for the video. So that's something that it's like anything else. Like if you, not everybody wants to go out and get video. So we didn't want to build that into our packages, but we are contemplating putting that as an add-on to just have like, you know, straight pricing along those lines. There is certain packages that do have video if you choose, you know, the more expensive packages. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that like it's part of that. So that kind of, I mean, the video part, like if you think about it, if you go out and take a listing and you go to, you know, get photography, you're going to pay one price. If you get photography and a Matterport, you're going to pay a different price. It's the same principle. So, you know, if you want, you know, more in terms of what you're getting, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to those vendors for, you know, for the extra video or for, you know, for what you're producing. What we are doing though, and this is what I spoke about a little bit before, is we're going to give you, we're in the process of building an app that's supposed to launch later this year that will help you build those videos on your own if you want to. So that would be like the other added portion to it, is if you want to do video, you're going to have pre-roll, you're going to have post-roll, you're going to have basically like a really fancy beginning to the video to introduce you. Like that's the type of stuff that we're creating right now. So that will be, you know, to come. I will tell you, like, and I'm not critiquing you. I think that like when this first got launched, we had a little bit of issue with like, you know, how like time delays and how quickly we had and all that stuff. I am not hearing that at all right now. And I think that if any of you guys, and I'm not questioning like, you know, you, Colette, this is more of like generically, if anybody has a problem with turnaround times, I should be getting an email or a call immediately, because those turnaround times, like we have a team in place behind the scenes with liaisons that their job is to make sure that everything gets turned around immediately. And really the biggest holdup, and I know you guys don't realize this, but I get product metrics behind the scenes. So I could see who's using it, how many times you've used it, what the dates are in terms of how quickly you get it. All of that is very visible to me. And the number one holdup on all of it is the agent not signing off on the marketing, is basically not giving permission to launch it. Is saying like, you know what, like if you gave permission, like it said like, yes, this is correct and that's correct, it launches very quickly. I'll take it one step further to add to this is you said, and I respect what you said, Colette, about like you having to like think ahead of time to like get the marketing in place. So
let me follow up on it, on something I want to say. I did it, I haven't done it in 2021. I did it like in 2020. Right. And
that makes sense to me.
So I don't know, but I think for me to try it again, because I was very discontent, I would need to speak to somebody to make sure that I'm you know, fully gaining from its potential.
Understood. We could certainly make that happen. Anybody who needs a liaison to like walk through that, awesome. Happy to do it. Susan, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a problem with it. It was not creative. I had them do a brochure. The brochure came to me. It was not what I would have wanted to put out to for my thing. I then hired another company and had them do the same company I used to use. And the difference between the brochure that was done by them and the brochure that was done by this company was a huge difference. So I'm not sure that creatively or even copy-wise that they matched what my expectations were.
So let me give you I have an easy answer for that. They'll create whatever template you need for your business. So you could literally, like the people that have put in their own templates, G, I'll get to you in 1 second. I just saw your hand. You know, the people that have put in their own templates, you could have a set template created for your business that every single time you take a listing, it just builds right into your template.
Right, but it was more the picture taking. It was more the creativity and how they took the picture. So when you took a picture of the front of the house, it was not a great picture of the front of the house.
So, I mean, I don't know who you use.
So I had to do it double. They just, and I tried it a couple of times and it just never worked out for me.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to use it. Like, you use whoever you want. But to me, like, I just feel like there's a real added benefit in terms of what we're getting return wise. I mean, the photographers that we're using, visual marketing and design is what most people are using in our area anyway. Like not everybody, and it's the exact same photographers that you get on your own through them that you get through us. So that part of it, like I haven't had a lot of issues with like the photographers, but if there's a specific photographer that you were like, I want this person, we can make that request, and it's you'll get exactly who you want. So that is really like, I'm not saying it's not an issue. I'm not trying to like, downplay your concern, but it's an issue that we could easily overcome. It's, that's a pretty simple fix. All right, I'm going to go in order here. Let's say I see Najia and I see Josephine, and then I got to click for more. So Najia, get going. What do you got?
Sure, I'll just quickly chime in since Colette was looking for someone. I used it pretty much on all of my listings last year, and it was great. It was, I mean, I know you said you used it before 2021. I know that they made some changes to the program. I had never used it before then, but for me, it was definitely streamlined as far as like everything kind of being all in one place. And once you get past like any hiccups of the first time using it, it really becomes easy to figure out how to schedule. For me, when I put a request in the system, I usually got a call the same day, if not the next day, to schedule for the photographer. As far as Michael said, with the photographers and the companies that they're using, whether it's VMD, VHT, whoever, if you have photographers that work at any of those places that you've used before, you can request them, like he said, up front and say, that's who I want. Now, obviously, if you do that, you're going to be beholden to whatever schedule that they can make at the time. And if you scheduled it last minute, you may not be able to get your top choice, but you are able to put that in there. And then my clients really liked it, especially if you do like the silver package or above. That commercial that they do on the CW, it might seem silly, but people really like that. You can turn it into something to put on social media, something to put on a YouTube channel. It really had a lot of benefit. And when you looked at the cost compared to what you could pay just for a picture and a floor plan package, it was, you were getting a lot more for your money, in my opinion. So
Gia, I'm definitely going to pay you later, but I appreciate that. But what I will say, just to add to that, and this is the honest truth, like I can't say it in any other way. This is not something that makes us money. It's not. Like it literally just like crushes my budget. Like, because we spend a ton of money on this. So when I see from a brokerage perspective, when I see all the money that we're spending on this, like I know that it really is to try to add benefit to you guys. And that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not like, this is not like, oh my God, let me see how long, how many listing concierge packages I could sell because there's a benefit to us. It literally costs us money. I mean, that's the truth of it. So I appreciate you adding what you did, Najia. And I agree that the system got significantly better in the past year. Like when we first launched it, there were glitches because there's glitches with everything when you first launch it. But I don't see that today. I'm going to go to Josephine, who I saw next. Oh, I'm sorry. Fariha is next, and then Josephine.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations to everybody who made the list. I just have a few comments about listing concierge. Like, so in the brochures, there's a limit to how much you can write, and you pretty much have to carry the same description onto the website and the brochures and all print material. So that's one thing, and the second thing is the website. It does not let you be creative on the website. There's not much that you can really add to it. And if I'm not wrong, you can either have a slideshow or you can have a video. Like, or like if you have a video, you can have only one video basically on the website.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be real with you about this. Like, this website is not meant to be like this custom, brilliant website. I agree with you on that. It's just meant to really the website, and I'm not saying this to undermine the question, so don't take it the wrong way. But like the website is in many ways a leveraging point that you're supposed to use with the seller. Like we're going to build, we're going to have like a custom website produced for your house. Is that going to drive the crazy traffic for them? It's not. Like, it's just being able to check that box. And in our office, what I would suggest you do, Fariha, to your point, is we have listing concierge, but we also have listings to leads. And I think that the website portion of it, nothing else, it's already a free service that we offer. You're also going to have listing websites that we're going to be able to build in Moxi. That I would suggest you probably use those other tools just for the website portion of it. And those are also automated. So it's not like you have to like recreate the wheel. That's also, created for you as well. And I would just say like that to me makes more sense is to do it that way. I see Jen. I'm going to get to you, Josephine, in 1 second. Jen, the time frame, in many instances, you could get pictures the next day. So it really, I have not heard of a backlog for photography. I mean, it's been very quick. So I don't think that that's a problem at all. Josephine, go ahead. Still there? Trying to unmute yourself? Give me a second, I'll unmute you.
Here I am.
All right.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, please.
Okay. I was saying with photography, I have always gone to the same photographer for all of my listings, and I've supplied those photos to Listing Concierge. So that's something that you can do relatively quickly. It does cost me a little bit more by doing that, but I like the photographer. So, you know, it's just a few more bucks. But going back to what Susan said before, when I used Listing Concierge, it was really frustrating on the creative end of it, because I found that when they were typesetting the copy, they really weren't proofreading it. It wasn't professional. And for a brochure, that's the thing that I'm used to seeing those kind of things because that's what I've done in the past. So I found that a bit lacking.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that they're writing up to your standard in terms of brochures. Like the copy should be really written by you. Like I agree with that. And I know that there's other providers that, that you could pay for copywriting for. So I'm not critiquing it if that's what you do, but as a listing agent, like I think that that's something that you should probably, you're right. You should focus on that. That should be part of the one input to this that you add to it and give your own flair. I personally, I wrote my own copy. There are some people here that say, absolutely not. I'm never writing my own copy. And I love the copy that was written. Like I know she just retired, but Vicki Morris wrote copy for years. And that's somebody that, I know she's did a great job with it. And I welcome you to still use that service. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't. Ultimately, like the one thing I'll tell you about this service is it's really about leverage. Like, I'm not going to say it's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Like, it's about leverage. Like, you're not going to be able to leverage the money you're spending on this and get a better return from marketing and get a better pitch that you're going to be able to sit in front of a seller with. And I think that to me, those are the two biggest takeaways is like, you definitely will. It stands out when it goes out in the marketplace because I just showed you an example. Like somebody received our marketing and they're like wowed by it. And I mean, I've heard other stories of that, so I know it works. I also think that the biggest thing that like needs to be stated here is, it's the time back in your schedule. Like all of you could probably do a better job of Listing Concierge than the studio could do. Like, and I believe that, but like, how long is it going to take you to do it? And like, doesn't it make more sense for you to go out and build relationships and get more listings? And that to me is the biggest argument is like, it's more of like smarter, not harder. And that's where I'm coming from in this. I'm not trying to sell a product. I'm trying to sell a service because I know that it will help you make more money. And, that's really what it comes down to more so than anything else. By the way, there's one other thing, speaking of more money, and I forgot to mention this on the call, but I am going to there are two things that stand out to me in this conversation. One has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's a service that I forgot about. And two has very much to do with the conversation where I'm going to have somebody come in and talk to you guys about Design Concierge. Design Concierge is the perfect link up to Listing Concierge. They will do all of your marketing for you on a personal basis, all of your templates, everything that you want, they'll do for you. And then it links right into Listing Concierge. So it's like really it's a perfect connection for you. That to me is many of you, what I'm hearing is you want customization. That's the path to customization. So, I could certainly help you on that front. So I'll have somebody come in and speak about that. We had somebody come in last year, but I'll do another session on that. I think it's really important for you guys to hear it. The second thing is, I don't know if you realize this, and I have done a really crappy job in the past of promoting this. Some of you are aware of it, but most of you are not. We are the only real estate company that exists right now that has like a built-in financial planning arm to us that will allow you to take your commission dollars and put it towards a SEP IRA. So I'm going to do a session coming up and have, financial planners come in and speak to that. It basically just is tax deferment. So you could pull money out towards a retirement account and really start to build up some retirement, off of the commission dollars that you have without getting taxed on it up front. So that's something that I keep forgetting to talk about, but I am going to have them come in. I mean, there are agents that, it's just like 6% of their business is going towards this, and it's just money that they never receive, so they don't go out and spend it. So I definitely will have that launch as well. The CRM training, it honestly is I know it's starting for us right now. Like Lynn and Jamie and them had to get off the call because our training starts at 3:00 today. So I know that we're doing staff training right now. I want to say it's this week or next week is launching like the agent training. We're going to pull everybody that has information and In Touch. Like that stuff's going to get pulled out and brought over to Moxi. So it's going to be a very smooth transition for you. I don't know so much about the website stuff. That's something that you might have to look into a little bit further. You will have access to In Touch for the rest of this year if you wanted to. It's going to sunset, like it's going away. We've built a relationship with them that allows you to continue to pay for it at a 30%, like it's like 30% of what it normally costs, 70% reduced rate. If you want to continue with In Touch, I don't know why you would want to do that. I strongly suggest you don't, because Moxi is just superior in like every way. So, why you would continue to pay for In Touch, unless there's something specifically about In Touch that you're in love with. Much of the tools and what is created for In Touch is going to get transitioned over to Moxi anyway. And Moxi is just way better on the tech front. So, I mean, it's your call, but you will have that option should you choose to. I would just recommend really gravitating towards Moxi and learning it, because I think it's going to be helpful for your business. Colette, I see your hand. Go ahead. Well, and by the way, Colette, before you start, tell Sebastian I said happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. He's right here.
Well, go ahead.
So will Moxi take the contacts out of In Touch, or do we have to transfer them ourselves?
I'm going to get you more information on this, but I think all of that's going to get transferred.
Awesome.
So the goal is to make it as smooth as possible.
Seamless as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, please. Do we have to reset all our search categories and stuff for all our people on our contact list?
I have literally not even been inside of Moxi yet. I've gotten a couple demonstrations of people that, they've showed it to me and they showed it to other managers, but I have not actually had the ability to play around with it yet. So those type questions I'll yield to the trainers. Once I get going with it and I learn all these answers, I'll be able to answer them for you. Jamie is definitely going to be our in-house expert and resident expert on this. I'm going to have her do a lot of work on it. I know Irv is going to as well, because, he's working as a growth manager. His job is to help build, using the systems and tools we have. So this is going to be a big part of what we're doing. We're going to run a lot of courses on this, a lot of classes on this, whatever you want to call it. So, those answers will get answered. I just don't know it offhand.
Right. Just one more question. And do we get to keep our URLs?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Do we get to keep our URLs? Like a website?
No, I understand the question. I honestly don't know. It's another one of those technical questions and it's a great question. The answer to that I don't know is that something that, you like, I think you bought that through In Touch. If you bought it through GoDaddy or anything like that, then absolutely yes. If you bought it through In Touch, I would assume that their contracts allow us to take that from them, after the fact, but I just don't want to say that definitively until I know the answer for you, because I really don't know. Any other questions? Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for participating. Listen, unless you guys have questions, I really, really appreciate, first of all, you're showing up. I appreciate all that you guys do. You're amazing. I mean, the fact that collectively our office did, over $100,000 in business, on average, it's such an impressive statistic to me. It's amazing that you guys have done what you're doing. I mean, that's, if you think about the average, salary in the US, our office is far exceeding that. And that includes people that are brand new in real estate that really haven't even sold anything yet. It includes people that are kind of retirees and they're just doing a handful of deals a year. You're awesome. You really are. I'm proud to represent you guys. And, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I know some of you are waiting for responses back from me on certain things. I completely hear you. And I'm sorry that you've been waiting. I've been trying to put together this meeting. This takes me 10 hours to put together. It's a long time. But, I will get to as many things as I possibly can today and for the rest of the week. So I appreciate your patience. Unless you have questions, I'm all done.
Please check your text message after the meeting. Thank you.
You and everybody else. I have 40 text messages, so I definitely will. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully,
Syphilis.
Yeah. Stay away from syphilis.